down the field. Happy tossing dimes, cup $1 million deal. Fantasy football, better know it's real. Tune into the podcast, tell us how you feel. We be going live, best believe we talk.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back into another episode of the Fantasy Football from Up North podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Clayton, and joining me, of course, is Habby. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Good day of football. Lots of few upsets. Some good games.
There was some good games, and the one that I thought was going to be the best game, which we'll touch on a little bit later, the Rams and the Bucs. I don't know. The Rams are legit, man.
Oh,
they are
definitely,
legit.
Yeah.
Definitely. We'll definitely
Stafford,
touch on that game.
Stafford behind the helm, there's a different beast there.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, well, why don't we just decide right now? Why don't we just kick off the Thursday night game? Carolina and Houston. What did you take away out of that game outside of the obvious of what happened there?
Yeah, McCaffrey went down and opened the door for Hubbard, but Darnold came to play, 304 through the air. No passing touchdowns, though, but they got it done against a weak Houston team. Yeah,
the Texans looked absolutely atrocious. Poor Davis Mills, man, was just running around all day long. This Carolina's defense is legit. 4 sacks on the day on Mills. So, I mean, the kid didn't really have too much to, couldn't do too much against this defense. And then as far as everything goes, Brandon Cooks is the only startable person on this offense. He went again, 9 catches for 112 yards again. This guy's just balling out. Doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball. So, then as far as the run game goes, it is what it is. You're not starting any of those guys. So, anything else catch your eye on the Carolina side of the ball?
No real fantasy relevant numbers coming to that backfield, but D Moore did go 8 for 126. So if you fired him up, good job.
Yeah, a couple things. Just touch on this Hubbard thing real quick. I mean, this kid's going to come in there. I mean, fellow Canadian and really close to home here for us, where he grew up. He's going to be a 3-down back in this offense. We did see a little bit of Royce Freeman, but I mean, we've seen Royce Freeman throughout his career, and he hasn't done too much at all. So, I mean, Hubbard immediately jumps in as their RB1 and a top I'd say a top 24 running back for the time being while CMC's out. And who knows how long this injury is going to last? It says a couple weeks as of right now, but we've seen that linger on for many weeks like we did last year. So it's worrisome in my opinion.
Yeah, but Carolina has always been able to plug and play some running backs in there, and they always produce good numbers.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. All right, well, go to the Baltimore side. Baltimore versus Detroit. This game was a little bit of a surprise in my opinion. It was, we saw Baltimore win this one, of course, but it was close.
Yeah, we all expected Baltimore to come in Detroit and roll Detroit, but Detroit, if I could say one thing about that team, is they're fighters, just like their coach seems to be.
The poor guy cannot buy a win. They've been in every single game that they've played, and of course it comes down to the most ridiculous field goal I've ever seen in my life. Number one, 66-yarder by Tucker. And what was more shocking about the whole thing was, it didn't have enough to go, and just the way it bounced, you could tell you could see the devastation in Campbell's eyes when that went through the upright. So
for sure. And on the Baltimore side of the ball, I mean, Lamar was the show. He got them the win through the air, 287 and a touchdown, and on the ground, 7 carries for 58 yards. And then Mark Andrews finally showed up for your fantasy teams with 5 for 109.
Yeah, with Jackson, though, too, I think he could have had another touchdown there. He did hit toss a nice dime to Marquise Brown late in the fourth quarter that he dropped. I can't believe he dropped it. You know what I mean? He was wide open. That would have definitely been a touchdown. So unfortunately, Marquise Brown, if you started him, I mean, you weren't super happy. 3 for 53 on the ground. And what the hell happened to this run game outside of Lamar Jackson? Is Tyson Williams, Lamar, or Latavius Murray? What's going on? I guess it was too close that they couldn't really get anything going, eh?
I mean, all these guys are bums. That's the thing, is that they're not number one backs. They're not even number two backs. Like, I don't know why you expected these guys to come in here and go off.
Yeah, dominate. Well, I just figured, you know what I mean? Just figured that it was such a run-heavy offense at one point with Gus Edwards. Well, I mean, say J.K. Dobbins and stuff like that. We kind of thought about that. I'm tempering my expectations on Tyson Williams moving forward.
Oh, for
and
sure.
then on the Detroit side, like you said, they're fighters. I mean, not great numbers from Goff, 217, no touchdowns. The run game was okay. We did see Swift get in the end zone. And then also Khalif Raymond all of a sudden is a thing, I guess. 6 for 68 in this one.
This week.
It sounds weird. Yeah, I know. But in week one, we were also seeing him targeted heavily.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I mean, you're not really touching anybody on this receiving side of the ball outside of, I think, TJ Hawkinson, which didn't have a great game. You're disappointed with his fantasy output today, 2 for 10. Yeah, really outside of that, Quinton Cephas kind of let you down. I mean, after the big game that he did have. So outside of that, not too much to really talk about from that point. How about the poopy Atlanta Falcons and the New York Giants? Now, 17-14, Atlanta came out on top. Just disgusting game to watch overall.
Yeah, it was. Battle of mistakes. I mean, it's nice to see a little bit of a light come on in Atlanta. Matty Ice was a little bit efficient for you today, 243 and 2 passing touchdowns, but he's still he did lose a fumble, which sucked. And again, McDavis struggling to get any traction in this backfield like he did in Carolina last year. I mean, Patterson seems to be getting more fantasy points. He's more relevant in the passing game for this team. And in the passing game, speaking of the passing game, really got you his consistent numbers is what he's going to get you all season, and he got you again this week with 8 grabs for 61 yards. But really in the receiving game, that's the only guy I'd fire up right now. Pitts is another intriguing fire up, but I think he's going to be more inconsistent as this Atlanta offense just doesn't seem to be as aerosoltish as it used to be.
Yeah, I think it definitely a guy you got to go grab off the wire if he's still there is Cordell Patterson. I said if he does have another game similar to what he had last week, I think he is definitely he's legit. He's playing the majority of the snaps on the field. He does seem like the more explosive guy. And like you said, if they're going to be playing in games where they're going to be passing a lot, which Atlanta does, I think that's where you're going to see Cordell Patterson as the more relevant fantasy back / wide receiver in this offense. You know, Mike Davis overall, 70 total scrimmage yards. Problem is with that is he's not breaking any, you know what I mean? Like we did see him do in Carolina last year. So on the Giants side of the ball, I was happy to finally see. I mean, not the great. I mean, he still had almost 100 total yards from scrimmage, but Saquon seems to be back. He 22 total touches, like I said, almost 100 yards, and he did find the end zone. So, I mean, you're happy with that output for sure. I mean, I figured that this was going to be the game that he was going to come out on top, and that's exactly what we saw. A little bit disappointing with, Daniel Jones did have decent numbers for the fact that half of his receiving core went out in this game. Sterling Shepard left this game. Darius Slayton left this game. We did see Kenny Golladay finally, 4 for 64. He's popped. And another guy to kind of look out for on the waiver wire, targeted 7 times, is Colin Johnson. He went 5 for 51. So just somebody to keep an eye out because it does sound like both Slayton and Sterling Shepard are going to be missing some time. Another surprise name we did see come out and had 6 targets on the day was Evan Ingram, but still didn't do nothing with him, 2 for 21. So I'm not worried. I'm not concentrating too much about Evan Ingram. And also, guys, make sure you next time. I thought he'd have a little bit bigger game when the Shepard did go out. Was Kadarius Toney still not doing too much? But I wonder if that's going to change now that these receivers are beat up in this offense. So.
Definitely a bummer game from Jones because I fired him up in DFS everywhere. I thought it was going to be a good game for him. But nope.
Exactly. All right. Jump over to the New Orleans, New England game. New Orleans 28, New England 13. You know what? Kamara finally got involved. I mean, I said this, and I did a live show earlier with Dale at Eat Sleep Fantasy, and I mentioned it. Like, I mean, you got to get your best playmaker involved in order to win football games, right? So
For sure.
Kamara did absolutely nothing in week 2, and that changed in this one. Kamara was 24 for 89 yards and also 3 for 29 and a touchdown through the air. Those are the kind of numbers you're going to expect to see from him week in and week out. I mean, you can't forget about this kid. So Winston, standard is Winston. He's I don't know, he's garbage in my opinion. Did throw for 2 touchdowns. Did throw, yeah, that sounds weird too, right? The fact that he did throw for 2 touchdowns, they won the game, and he's just still trash. But Marquise Callaway,
their defense is giving them great field position, and that's what's going to win them games.
Yep. Marquise Callaway did come through 4 for 41 on 5 targets, 1 touchdowns. I want to see that again before I start pump his name out there to people. So New England side of the ball, Habby, what'd you see, if anything?
Not much. Rookie quarterback struggling, just like the rest of them today. But Jones, 30 for 51, 270, 1 pass, a touchdown, 3 INTs. Kendrick Bourne was the big name in the receiving court today with 6 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. Jacoby got you 9 grabs for 94 as well. Good game from him. But it was not enough for the New England Patriots as New Orleans curb stomped them.
Yeah, and it continues to show me that
nothing in the backfield.
Yeah, number one with these tight ends on this offense, it's going to be one or the other week to week. I mean, still not great numbers. 5 grabs for 36 from Henry, which isn't bad numbers, but I mean, it's going to be you got to pick which one you want every week, pretty much, right? You know what I mean? So I mean, you're probably starting either one of them because the name value, and you probably don't have anybody. Probably better than that, but
tight ends are a crapshoot.
Yeah, exactly. And then like you said, outside of the New England game or the run game, Damian Harris did nothing today. We did see James White leave this game early, but you know what? I'm tempering my expectations every week when I see if I have a running back playing against New Orleans, because they're pretty good. So
yes. All
right, let's go to the Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game.
Upset.
Yeah, I don't know if it was an upset. Watching NFL Network though this morning, everybody called for this game to be go the way it did. A little bit closer, mind you, but on for Pittsburgh side of the ball, they did lose. Well, Deontay Johnson was out. They ended up losing Juju in this one as well. So Najee Harris decided to come to play. We saw the rookie step it up for almost over 140 total yards, 14 catches for 102 on 19 targets. So I'm not sure what's going. You know what? If Smith-Schuster and Deontay Johnson miss time, I'm not sure who else you're going to be picking up from this offense, and you're definitely not starting Big Ben if you were. So Claypool, 9 for 96 on 15 targets as well. So, I mean, those are your 2 guys that he's going to be looking at. But outside of that, nothing else too much to really talk about. Freiermuth did get a touchdown today. So that's pretty much it. And talk to me about Cincinnati.
All right. Well, the Bengals didn't have to do much to win this game, especially through the air. Burrows only chucked the ball 18 times and for 172 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Sorry, 14 times. 14 for 18 he was. 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase came up big again. 4 for 65 and 2 touchdowns. And Tyler Boyd finally got in the end zone for you and me on a couple of my teams. Didn't put up the greatest yardage, but 4 for 36 and that touchdown got you some fantasy relevant numbers. Backfield, decent game from Mixon, 18 for 90. No touchdowns though, and he grabbed 1 ball for 4 yards.
I like Mixon. Mixon's been quietly having a season so far.
Yeah, as long as their passing game is going, Mixon can. I mean, just like almost any offense, the running back can make himself relevant.
Well, because of the fact that you got Burrow, that's, he does have 3 pretty decent receivers. So, I mean,
Yeah.
they're not going to be able to stack the box on every play. So, it gives Mixon a little bit more room to run. So,
Yep.
okay, Indianapolis and the Titans. This was a game that I thought was going to be okay. I guess it was all right from a fantasy aspect, but for the Colts, Wentz did throw the ball 37 times, only completed 19 for 194, no touchdowns. Those numbers are kind of what we've been seeing from him for years now. So, I mean, does have wonky ankles right now, so maybe that had something to do with it. But Jonathan Taylor, 10 for 64. And then we saw him only go 1 for 8. Not a bad not a bad day overall for him. Didn't see the end zone at all, but rushing wise, did pretty well. And finally, we saw Nyheim Hines get in the end zone. Had the lone rushing touchdown for this team. And Michael Pittman just continues to be heavily targeted in this offense. 12 targets today, 6 for 68. Definitely Pittman is the guy. Don't make the mistake that I did. I dropped him after week 1 because I thought he was trash. Probably could have used him on a few of my teams this week. So moving forward, Pittman and Taylor are really the only two guys that you really want on this in this offense. As far as tight ends go.
Nyheim Hines is becoming a flex option. He seems to be consistently getting those grabs and especially the targets every week.
Just like last year, right? That's pretty much the same role that he had last week. So, I would buy into that for sure. Tennessee's side.
All right.
Trashy Tannehill.
Yeah, not great numbers. 18 for 27, 197, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Again on the ground, Derrick Henry was the man, 28 for 113. And through the air, it was a sort of unknown Westbrook Ikahine. 4 for 53 and a touchdown was the man. We saw A. Brown go back, so that sort of opened the door, or go down, so that sort of opened the door for one of their other receivers to take a step forward, and he was the man who got the touchdown pass, or one of the touchdown passes from Tannehill today. Yeah,
the thing that surprised me, Tannehill's rushing number is 5 for 56 today. That was different to see out of him, as he usually is not really running too much like that. But I think Indy's defense kind of got at him a few times. So, and Derrick Henry, not much more to say about him. Another 100-yard game. Yeah. And caught all of his targets, or caught 3 of his 4 targets for 31 yards. So I mean, 45 yards or 44 yards from scrimmage. Julio, 3 for 47, quieter game for him. And then, moving forward, just got to wait and see what happens with A.J. Brown. I mean, if A.J. Brown is out, are you touching any of these other guys? Westbrook?
No.
No, you're not doing any of that, right? No. So don't chase numbers when you see stats sometimes. So
yeah.
All right, Washington and Buffalo. This was kind of a cool game. Who do you want to kick off? Who do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, coming into this one, I felt that I knew that Washington would. I thought it would be a lot closer. I thought that Washington's defense would step up a little bit better, but coming right out of the gates, Buffalo scored three straight touchdowns and pretty much put this game away. Josh Allen was huge today, and 358, four passing touchdowns, and they even snuck in Trubisky finally for one throw for 1 yard. But the big man was old balls Emmanuel Sanders in the passing game. 5 for 94, 2 touchdowns. The Diggs 6 for 62. Unfortunately, didn't get in the end zone. Knox and Moss were the other 2 passing touchdowns, and then Beasley. Finally, the catch monster got to eat today because he had 11 receptions for 98 yards.
In this offense, this is such a pass-heavy offense because the fact that their run game is, not the greatest. It was Moss that did lead this week, 13 for 60. That's back-to-back weeks. But it's such a pass-heavy team that all 3, Beasley, Sanders, and Diggs, should be rostered. I mean, I'm going to have Sanders and Beasley on the waiver wire article this week, only for the simple fact is that, yes, I mean, Beasley and Sanders are very underowned. I mean, I think it's under 30% for Sanders, and I think it's just at 50% for Beasley. So he's up there, but they're still going to – those two guys are solid flex plays each week. The Bills do have a very soft schedule coming up. Yeah. So I'm going to go grab Sanders where I can, and I'll fire him up in my flex. So just keep an eye out. Hit fantasyfootballfromupnorth.com probably Monday evening, and I will have my waiver wire article up for everybody. So on the Washington side of the ball, Heineke 14 for 24, 2 passing touchdowns, also had a rushing touchdown. I mean, this kid is making the best of his opportunities. They said even before this, depending on what kind of game he had against Buffalo, he could just keep this Washington job. He has done well. Buffalo's defense is pretty good. And like you said, they got down early. They were he was forced to throw a little bit more. We did see Gibson, mind you, did have a pretty solid game, though. He did have a nice 73-yard touchdown catch. And also 31 yards on the ground, but he only rushed the ball 12 times. So, but like you said earlier, I mean, you're down that many touchdowns, you're not running the ball very often. So, Logan Thomas was the other pass catcher with the touchdown, 4 for 42, and just kind of continues to be relevant. And McLaurin was 4 for 62. So, I mean, in this passing game, you're obviously firing up McLaurin and Gibson, those two guys especially. McKissick, it was a little bit quieter of a day for him. Didn't see too much action. I was kind of waiting to see what was going to happen this week as far as what his output would be, and it wasn't good enough for me to even consider trying to go grab on the wire or anything like that. So. Moving forward, it's pretty much like I said, Logan Thomas, because like you said, tight ends are a crapshoot, and he continues going to get some targets in this offense, and Gibson and McLaurin. So
it'd be nice for one of these other receivers to step up. Like if they're doubling McLaurin like they did today, one of these other receivers, they're playing one-on-one all game. They should be able to get something going.
I agree with that as well. All right, LA Chargers and Kansas City. What the heck happened here? This was
upset.
Yeah, this one I'll call an upset for sure.
Yeah,
especially being on the road in KC, and they walked away with a victory, which is pretty nice. Herbert 281, 4 passing touchdowns. Those are big numbers, fantasy numbers for him. Mike Williams continues to just, this is the Mike Williams that we thought we were going to see years ago. Finally, now he decides that he's going to be showing up. 7 catches, 122, 2 touchdowns today on 9 targets. Keenan Allen continues to be a target hog. He had 12 targets in this one as well, 8 for 50 and 1 touchdown. Austin Eckler, over 100 total yards, and also a passing touchdown. So, I mean, those are kind of numbers we expect to see out of Eckler. We expect him to put numbers up on the ground, but also, be involved in that receiving game. And 6 for 52, that's exactly the kind of numbers you want to see out of him. So, and then, outside of that, that's pretty much on the Chargers side of the ball. Pretty much those are the only guys who really need to talk about. So talk to me about the Chiefs. What the hell happened?
I don't know. Like they're every once in a while, their offense seems to get too far ahead of themselves and think they're gonna win games. I don't know. They seem a little bit too cocky to me, especially Mahomes sometimes.
How about that no look interception that he threw today?
Yeah.
Not needed.
He does stuff like that all the time, and it's a little bit cocky and arrogant. And not terrible numbers, 260, 3 touchdowns through the air, and then those 2 picks. Clyde finally had a breakout game this season. 100 yards on the ground, 17 rushes, and then 2 for 9 through the air with that passing touchdown. So those are some good fantasy numbers, his best of the season so far.
Kid's got to hold on to the ball, man. This is 3 straight games. He's had 3 fumbles in 3 weeks.
Yeah, he does.
Hang on to the ball because the kid's talented. So
yeah. Tyreek 5 for 56. Nothing call home about. So Miko finally got into the end zone. Hardman there, 3 for 33 and a touchdown, and the big numbers came from seven catches from 104 yards from Travis Kelce. Other than that, Mahomes did put 4 for 45 on the ground for you too as well. But that was the thing I found today. They made a few too many cocky plays, and it got them in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to switch things up. Andy Reid apparently ended up going to the hospital after the game. Wasn't feeling well, so hopefully all is good with him. But
don't make Reid angry.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a different Chiefs team next week. So,
probably better.
All right, Arizona and the Jags. This game was a little bit closer than I thought too. It started to be a little bit closer. Sorry, at one point. Sorry, 31-19, so not very close, but Kyler over
just not as many like scoring plays through the air as he thought.
Yeah, it's crazy. Kyler Murray, not a passing touchdown, 316 yards through the air though. Did get a touchdown on the ground. James Conner and Chase Edmonds continued just basically to split the work. We did see James Conner, though, rush in 2 touchdowns. So he's most likely going to be the goal line back, which I believe you called earlier this year. With Hopkins kind of nursing an injury, I think he was out there as pretty much a decoy. He was questionable coming into this game. So we did see, the two main guys, AJ Green and Christian Kirk, step up. Christian Kirk is should be owned and is still owned, not owned enough, which will also he'll be on the waiver wire as well. AJ Green though, 5 for 112 off 6 targets, and Christian Kirk was 5 for 104. The big hype around Rondale Moore is no more. He wasn't involved whatsoever. Pretty disappointed with his. I thought he'd be a little bit more involved. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that AJ Green just stepped it up a little bit, but
they just got so much depth in this receiving core. I mean, I did fire up Moore, picked him up on the waiver wire last week, fired him up this week instead of Tyler Boyd, and just got bit for it.
Yeah, I'm sure probably a lot of people did. So
I was like, Hopkins, he's injured. He's gonna be a decoy. They're gonna give it to Moore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no.
They gave less to Moore.
Exactly. Yeah. Jacksonville side, yikes.
Yeah, Lawrence struggling early in the season. He's losing games that left, right, and center, and this Urban Meyer's offense just doesn't seem to be clicking. 22 for 34, 219, 1 passing touchdown, and 2 INTs. Finally, J-Rob showed up on the ground, 15 for 88. Got a rushing touchdown as well as 6 catches for 46 yards through the air. DJ Chark got in the end zone, 3 for 49 on that touchdown. Jones, again, with the consistent numbers, 6 for 62. And he's probably the lone receiver that you're going to probably maybe fire up on your flex now that he's gone 3 straight weeks with pretty consistent numbers.
Yeah, I've been firing him up as an RB2, RB3 most weeks.
No, Jones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So, wide receiver. Wide receiver too.
Yeah. So the biggest issue I think too with the Jags is, they got to protect Lawrence. They got to give him time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Took another 3 sacks again today. He's been forced to get rid of that ball real quick. You can't put all the blame on the kid for trying to do what he's doing. He's doing the best that he can, I think, behind a pretty shitty O-line.
Yeah.
So, like you said, James Robinson, good game finally to see come from him. And, like you said, Jones is the only guy you're really going to want to fire up. Keep an eye, though. Chark did see 6 targets today. So, just somebody to keep an eye on. I'm most likely certain he's already rostered, but all right, we're just firing through these games, so this is awesome.
Good.
All right,
we wanted
Chicago, Cleveland. You pick. Who do you want to talk about?
I guess I'll go with the. Okay, go.
I'll start. Where do you go? I was going to say, welcome to the big leagues, Justin Fields.
Yes.
Wow, 6 for 20, 68 yards.
All the rookie quarterbacks were pooped today.
Dude, 9 sacks.
Yeah.
He took, I thought the kid could run. What the hell happened?
He can run, but it's knowing when to run is the problem. He's trying to bust out of the pocket and he's surrounded by dudes.
And 9 sacks is ridiculous. Nothing too much to talk about. I mean, probably better days moving forward for this team. I mean, Cleveland's defense is no joke. So, you got to protect the kid a little bit more as well. Outside of that, I mean, J-Rob 2 for 27. Like, really nothing to talk about on the Chicago side.
No, literally
tell
nothing.
me about Cleveland. Nothing to talk
so
about.
So bad.
9 sacks. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, they didn't have to do much, Cleveland, to win this game, obviously. Baker was not great, 19 for 31, not too efficient, 246 and a pass touchdown. Also took 5 sacks. Chubb was good on the ground, 22 for 84. But the big man on campus today was Kareem Hunt, 10 for 81 and a rushing touchdown, as well as 6 grabs through the air for 74 yards. So a huge game from out of Kareem Hunt, who a lot of people had in their flex position, even as they're starting. If there is no flex and you just have he'd be a good. Well, now he's going to be like a number 2 RB2 on most teams.
I think he's always been an RB2 most likely.
Yeah.
If you drafted him, you draft him definitely as an RB2. So.
And Odell, his first game back, not bad. 5 for 77 yards. A lot of people thought he was going to be a dud this week, but those are decent numbers for your first game of the season. And Austin Hooper, 2 for 19, but finally got a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. I thought both tight ends would be a little bit more involved in this one. They weren't. It was pretty much, Odell Beckham and, like you said, Baker just dumping off to Kareem Hunt out of the backfield pretty much all day. I think moving forward, I think you're going to see better production out of Odell, and I still think you're going to see one of these Donovan Peoples-Jones, Rashard Higgins, or even Demetric Felton. These guys, at some point, these guys are going to step up. Not often you're going to play against a defense like Chicago. I mean, like you said, they sacked him. There's 14 total sacks in this game, so I mean that's ridiculous. So. You're not rostering pretty much any of those. You're not going out to, pay for those guys right now, but just, keep an eye moving forward, especially come bye week. So, the New York Jets and the Denver Broncos. What in God's name did we watch?
Another rookie catastrophe.
Okay, well, there's nothing to talk about on the Jets side. Wilson is trash. Michael Carter does seem to be the favorite in this backfield now, 9 for 24. Corey Davis, 5 for 41. Great job. Yeah, on 10 targets. Yeah, carry over to Denver side. That's it.
All right, that's it. Yeah, I can see the frustration on the Jets coach's face, basically thinking, "Oh man, I thought we drafted a good quarterback."
Yeah, exactly.
Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, they didn't need to do much to win as well. They mainly tried to keep it on the ground. He went 19 for 25 for 235. Efficient numbers, not great fantasy numbers though. Melvin Gordon outtouched Jay Will today, 18 touches for 61 yards and a touchdown. And Jay Will was 12 for 29 and a touchdown. Through the air, we saw Patrick step up today, 5 for 98. Jay Will got 3 for 33, and I think that he's going to be the pass catching back in this backfield over Gordon. And Noah Fant, bummer, 2 for 15.
Yeah, this backfield. Yeah, I think these guys complement each other perfect. They're going to keep each other. They're going to keep each other fresh all year, which is nice because we know what happens when Gordon can't carry the load. You know what I mean? He'll get banged up. But, I mean, right now, you're playing both of them. Tim Patrick is a guy that is very low owned and should be rostered in all formats. This guy whenever Judy is out, Patrick continues to produce week in and week out. This is the first game that he didn't get a touchdown, but in 2 weeks prior, he has found the end zone at least once. So, I mean, Patrick's the guy. Patrick Sutton, those are the two guys you're going to want to own in this receiving core, and you're going to want to own both backfields. And Teddy Bridgewater is a very serviceable quarterback, not just on bye weeks, but even now. I mean, like I said, I'm still going to play him over guys like, I mean, it kind of backfired. I played him over Tannehill this week. Tannehill had a little bit better numbers, but like, Matt
Game
Ryan.
script in this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Game script screwed you.
That's the thing. I mean, if it's a close game, Bridgewater's going to produce good fantasy numbers. So
yeah, and anybody but the Jets.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to fire up Noah Fant. You didn't mention him.
Oh yeah, Noah Fant, you got to start. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's talk about the Miami Las Vegas Raiders game. One that went into overtime, which is pretty. It was out of hand at one time, and then all of a sudden, I look and the game is tight. So, what happened? Talk to me.
Jacoby Brissett. Yeah. What? How do you feel that Jacoby Brissett is better than your franchise quarterback? Even though he didn't put up great numbers, he still almost got the job done. But I
think Tua is a better quarterback. I think.
He's better, but he almost got them the win today against a tough Raiders team.
Yeah, the Raiders are a good team.
They are. Jacoby.
She comes in every day.
I know. I even thought I locked it.
Daddy, this is your favorite part.
Shut the door. Oh yeah, Gaskin on the ground, 13 for 65. Gesicki through the air finally for you Gesicki guys out there. I'm not one of them. He shot me in the foot last year, big time. 10 for 86 for him. Didn't get into touchdowns though, because nobody did through the air. But that's about it. I think
with Brissett, I think if Brissett's going to be behind center, I mean, you're going to want to own. I mean, you're going to want to own Waddle and Gesicki. I mean, both these guys double-digit targets. Waddle led.
Waddle with 12 grabs too for 58 yards.
Yeah,
so good
on
game
13 targets. I mean, on 12 grabs, you're going to want to see way better numbers. But is what it is. PPR, he had a shit ton of points. So Myles Gaskin didn't look pretty decent, actually, 13 for 65. And it was surprising to see that Malcolm Brown is the one that got the rushing touchdown. And he also started the game, which was odd. But Myles Gaskin, you're going to want to fire him up. I mean, he's a top 24 running back moving forward. On the Raiders side of the ball, Derek Carr? What the fuck? Why am I confusing it? I'm a Texans by it. That's why. Derek Carr.
Yeah.
386 yards through the air, 2 passing touchdowns. Biggest Peyton Barber, 23 rushes for 111 yards. Kenyon Drake, who? I thought this was going to be Kenyon Drake backfield with no Josh Jacobs, but clearly
never. Not. Drake's a bum.
I think if Jacobs does miss more time, I think Barber is the guy you're going to want to own in this backfield. I think Drake falls back down to that. I mean, Barber did also have 3 catches in this one as well, but Drake also had. Well, I think Drake's going to fall back into that position where he was when we expected with Jacobs to be that pass catching back. So Barber 23 rushes for over 100 yards and a rushing touchdown. Bryan Edwards 3 for 89. Henry Ruggs 4 for 78. Man, Ruggs is a speedster. I watched him.
He's fast,
he
man.
Blows by people.
Super fast. That's why they drafted him, because of his speed.
So,
just had to get his hands to catch up with his speed.
Yeah, that's just the thing. The one guy I'm really curious about, and he should be owned, and he's not right now, is Hunter Renfrow. I mean, this kid 5 for 77, another touchdown on 6 targets. He's now averaging almost 65 yards and 5 catches a game, and he's leading the team in targets right now. So, I mean, he's basically kind of what I kind of said last week. He's like their Cooper Kupp in this offense. You know what I mean? Carr looks at him often, and he's probably going to be the one who's going to consistently put up numbers besides Waller in this offense. So, definitely a guy that's going to be on the wire, and you should probably go get him. So, I mean, that's about it for this game. I mean, we saw it was Carlson again continues to be, probably the best kicker in the NFL right now, I would think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Tucker hit a monster today.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was pretty awesome, though.
But
All right.
as long as they keep chucking the ball like they are, I mean, they'll be able to eat, or a lot of these guys will be able to feast. Especially those three you mentioned: Ruggs, Renfro, and Waller.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Minnesota, Seattle. This is kind of a game that I was interested in. A lot of fantasy players on both of these teams. On the Seattle side, Russ under 300 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown. Chris Carson, 12 for 80. He stepped up a little bit. He did have a rushing touchdown. And in the receiving game, Lockett took a backseat to Metcalf this week. Metcalf
Finally.
6 for 107 and 1 touchdown on 9 targets. Lockett a measly 4 for 31. Really disappointing. Costing me our matchup against when I was playing Jane Flea Flicker this week and got beat.
Yeah.
He crushed me. So
he's got a good team.
He does have a solid team. And then outside of that, that's pretty much the same guys. Those are the guys you're going to want to own on this team. None of these Gerald Everett. He was 5 for 54 in this one on 5 targets. But I mean, what? I'm not. We won't talk about any of these guys in a relevant aspect until bye weeks start, pretty much.
Yeah.
On boy, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Vikings. I mean, big numbers coming all out of all your fantasy guys here. Kirk Cousins, 30 for 38, 323, 3 passing touchdowns. Madison, 26 for 112, and another 6 grabs for 59 yards through the air. Jefferson, huge game, continues to be a beast in this league. 9 for 118 for and a passing touchdown. Conklin is becoming a tight end relevant, like top 10, I'd say, right now in the NFL, fantasy wise.
He's being relied on very heavily in this offense.
7 for 70 and a touchdown today.
Yeah,
and
he's
Thielen was the one other numbers, 6 for 50 and a touchdown today.
Yeah, Conklin is only owned in like 5% of leagues. So,
I know.
He's out there. He's a guy that you're going to want to go get. He's going to be basically the lone tight end that I'll write about this week. But like you said, Cousin locks in on his guys, right? His guys are Jefferson, Thielen, and pretty much, Madison was in there today, but it's usually Cook, right? So Dalvin Cook missed today's game. Madison stepped in and did what Madison kind of does, steps in. He's probably the number 1 handcuff in the league, I would think.
Pollard can put up.
Pollard too. Yeah.
Be him or Pollard.
Yeah. So I mean, but both these guys. I mean, you're not flexing. The differences with that though is like you're not like with Madison. You're not flexing him if Dalvin Cook's in the game, right?
No.
Pollard, on the other hand, you're probably right. Pollard is
could.
Probably the best handcuff, but Pollard's the type of guy that you could go and handcuff every week. So hopefully Cook's back next week. If not, Madison is a guy. If he's out there on your waivers, which I don't think he is, definitely go get him. So, and if you're a Cook owner, go and try to trade for him. So, because
and Conklin, go get him.
Conklin's definitely a must add. So, all right, and then we'll touch on the last game we're going to talk about today is the Tampa Bay LA Rams game, which was a crazy game to watch. I'll start with Tampa Bay. Tom Brady over 430 yards, only 1 passing touchdown, which blows my mind when you're talking about Tom Brady throwing the ball 55 times and you're throwing it for over 400 yards. You're expecting 3-4 touchdowns. No, only 1 in this one. The Rams got at him pretty quick. He was sacked 3 times. And how bad is this? This run game the Bucs have is trash, like absolute legit trash. Brady leads the team in rushing yards. But 3 for 14 on the ground, and that's it. Fournette got the start in this one, did absolutely nothing. We figured with Antonio Brown, we were kind of figuring out who was going to be the guy that benefited most in this game. I mean, Mike Evans, 8 for 106 on 10 targets. Godwin, 6 for 74. So it's pretty much the same guys, that you would see. I thought Gronk would be a little bit more involved. He was only 4 for 55. But a surprising one, and this is the reason they went out and got him, was Gio Bernard, 9 for 51 and that lone passing touchdown. I mean, Gio is the guy to have. If you need a guy to, flex out every week, I think Gio Bernard, we'll see if this continues, but if he's out there, which he should be, he could be a solid waiver stash for now. get that stash, like his little stash. You get that?
Yeah.
He did shave it off though. He looks like a weirdo now. So, but anyways, as far as the run game goes, I don't think you're dropping either of these guys right now. Maybe it's game script because I mean, if it was a closer game, if they were leading, you'd probably see a few more rushes out of this team. So, yeah, the Rams are an exciting team now. Tell me about them.
One thing about the Bucs is if Brady's getting pressured a lot, he's gonna dump it off to his backs a lot. So that's where in those games, that's where Bernard is gonna be big. Even though the rest of their schedule is so easy, I could see them just pounding teams and then trying to run the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll see. As far as the Rams go, Stafford, huge game, 343 through the air, 27 for 38, very efficient, 4 passing touchdowns, and Daryl Jackson, huge game.
Well, who's Daryl? Deshaun?
Oh, Deshaun, sorry. There's a Daryl Jackson out there somewhere. There's like 12 Jacksons in the NFL. 3 for 120 and a passing touchdown. Cooper Kupp, huge game. 9 receptions for 96 yards, 2 passing touchdowns.
He's gonna finish as a top 10 wide receiver this year.
Yeah, for sure.
He's been ridiculous.
Definitely.
Yeah.
With Stafford, like Stafford's just zoned in on him. Like he's gonna get like 5 or I'd say like 7+ every game grabs.
Oh yeah, exactly. You know what? Higbee finally was involved as well.
Finally, yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Caught all 5 of his targets. We were watching the game and Sarah was like, why is that coach so excited? It was halftime. McVay comes out when Suckup missed the field goal at halftime and was so jacked. Like he's fist pumping and everything. I'm like, yeah, I said, that's the personality of this guy. I would love if I played football. That's the guy I want to play for. A guy that is just so jacked up at halftime. Like, how do you not love that, right? That's why I think Stafford is so successful in this offense because, number one, they're winning games.
Yeah.
And just in general, it just seems like it's a good group of guys, and they seem the chemistry just seems amazing with them all. And the thing with Deshaun Jackson is that the guy still has speed.
Oh,
how old he is. He's been in the league forever. I mean, I watched a couple of them that he dropped today, one that he dropped today that he was probably Stafford underthrew him. Had Stafford threw it over top of him, he probably had 5-6 yards on the guy.
Yeah.
So just missed him on that one. So I mean, I'm not running out to go get Deshaun Jackson, but just somebody keep an eye on.
Unfortunately, Woods was not great fantasy wise today. 3 for 33. Didn't get to eat in this big offensive game. And with Stafford behind the helm, like this team is they're a Super Bowl contender for sure, right?
100, definitely, 100%.
Maybe even after beating the Bucs like this, maybe made the number 1 Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, should be good to see. I don't know, the Bucs schedule moving forward is pretty light. So we'll see what happens.
Sony Michel was the man in the backfield today. 20 carries for 67 yards. Not great, but decent in those. Well, our flea flicker points, he would have got in double digits, so that's not bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, Henderson, depending on how long he'll be out. But, yeah, definitely kind of decent numbers. I mean, only 3.4 yards per carry. But, I mean, we'll see what happens moving forward with this Henderson injury. So, well, Habby, we did it. Under 50 minutes at least, which is nice. We've been, going over an hour, which is in a long
Still have
time.
one question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
One question. Who are your top 3 waiver wire ads this week?
My top 3 waiver wire ads are going to be in, am I going to go in? Well, Chuba Hubbard will be number 1.
1, yes.
Okay.
That's my number 1 as well.
Okay, so
I would say Zach Moss in the running back department, another running back that you might want to go grab.
Yeah, I will. Send me a list, Habby. I'll do some up on him. So Chuba Hubbard, I'm going to go Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Tyler Conklin.
Tight end. I'll go Hunter Renfrow and Christian Kirk as my other 2 grabs. If those guys are out there, start rostering those guys.
Yeah, they're both out there, and they're both on the list this week as well. And Darnold's going to be on there again because you got to roster this kid now. They're 3-0, and he's putting up solid like top 15 QB numbers. So
I wouldn't think after last week's waiver wire he'd be out there on too many.
Yeah, he's out there a lot. Yeah, no. So, but okay, all right, buddy. Well, that was wicked. Let's try to. I don't know. You got a busy week this week?
No, not really.
Let's try to get on for another show. Try to get a second one out for the people. Let's do it. We'll touch. I'll touch base. Yeah, I'll touch base with you. We'll try to figure something out for sure. So, all right, guys. Well, as usual, don't forget to sign up for Monkey Knife Fight. We'll start talking a little bit about that. I didn't do as great today, but I'm loving it, man. I like I said, I'm up like a couple $100 on it from when I started the year. So far so good. I just love the prop bets and stuff like that. So if you guys want to go sign up, go to Monkey Knife Fight, download Monkey Knife Fight, the app, or do it on your computer. Use promo code HOTDOG with your first deposit, and let's do it. And we can start talking about some Monkey Knife Fight bets. It'd be great. So, but outside of that, Habby, good job today. Some good football. Hopefully won your leagues. Hopefully everyone won their leagues. And thanks again for listening, guys. We'll talk soon. Peace.
Clayton caught a pig skin running down the field. Happy tossing dimes, $2 million deal. Fantasy